Hello, everyone. Here's your weather hazard briefing for Tuesday, February 14th. Quite a bit of snow and wind, and where we've had not a lot of snow, it has also been very windy this morning, and that trend continues through this evening. And we've had a lot of blowing and drifting snow. That trend will continue throughout the day. So if you're traveling, you want to check on those road conditions, especially if you are heading into the higher elevations. We've even had some blowing and drifting conditions in some places in the lower elevations this morning, even with the minimal amounts of snow. Now, cold front comes through tonight. Everyone, it's going to be cold the next several days. Very low wind chills, especially tomorrow morning. We'll have several places with wind chills at or below minus 20. It will be dry, though, until we get to later into the weekend, and then we start another round of precipitation, and this looks to last for a few days, heading towards the early and middle part of next week across the area. Satellite has area of low pressure over us, and that's produced the snow across the region. Pretty windy conditions, especially on the back side of this system out of the west. They will become more northerly as this low passes to the east. They won't be quite a strong area wide. There will still be some strong gusts, especially up towards the Continental Divide, the Montana border this evening. But like we said, the wind and the snow out there, some blowing and drifting conditions, and some poor visibilities have been around this morning, and that trend will continue. For the weather risk outlook, our most areas concerned will be across the Snake Plain into the southeast highlands, the eastern highlands, and the south hills. And honestly, just about anywhere today, even if it's not widespread, there will be some pockets of some poor conditions across the area, more of a moderate impact versus minor impact. For Wednesday and Thursday, we have our areas where we're expecting those very cold wind chills, moderate impacts with the dangerous wind chills elsewhere. It will be breezy. There will be some low wind chills. Thursday into Friday, we'll have some pockets of some freezing fog and stratus. And that's with the ridge moving over us, but still with the very cold temperatures in place. Even with a little bit of wind, we'll have some wind chill issues across the area. Not as bad for Friday into Saturday, and that's when the first little bit of light snow moves back into the area. But the bulk of it will come as we head into the early part of next week. So, how are things tracking today weather-wise? We've had a pretty good area of snow along the interstate corridor, the 15 corridor, the US 20 corridor. That is starting to shift now into the highlands during the morning hours. Other pockets and bands of snow will continue. Looks like maybe another band or two across the Snake Plain behind this, developing later on this morning. And you'll notice as we go through the rest of the morning and afternoon, everything starts coming in from the northeast and pushing southwest. That is on the backside of that low. This is also the pattern, the flow that's going to help push that Arctic air over the Continental Divide later on this afternoon and this evening. We continue to watch snow, especially by late afternoon and early evening across the eastern highlands, the southeast highlands, along the Snake Plain into the Magic Valley. Also, some pockets of heavier snow over the central mountains, but you'll notice that quickly clears as we go into the overnight hours. And by the time we get past midnight, we should be not seeing any snow across the area, but some pretty gusty winds developing from the north about that time as well. So how does that forecast look, looking at the rest of our forecast for later on today? You can see where we're looking at that snow for the bench areas, the eastern highlands, the southeast highlands. Some of the highest elevations picking up in excess of 2 inches of snow. And we have snow amounts on here. They're going to be very hard to measure, just to be honest with you, because of all the wind that's out there. We've had gusts overnight in the 50 to 60 mile an hour range in some areas. Throughout the morning, from basically the southeast eastern highlands across the Magic Valley into the Treasure Valley, the winds will be coming down, but we're still going to see some gusts, 35, 45, maybe a few places gusting around 50, especially where we have a good crosswind, some downslope winds along the 84 corridor south towards Yale and Idaho. And that is a prime example of this pattern. But you'll see the winds already pushing out of the north across the divide and out of the central mountains. In those areas, gusts in excess of 40 miles an hour already later on this morning. You'll see the winds down south diminishing, still gusty across the Magic into the Treasure Valley, but those strong northerly winds picking up and coming across the divide. Just some light smattering of snow over most areas, a couple of inches in a few spots, and the higher peaks across the southeast highlands along the benches from Idaho Falls down to around American Falls, picking up an inch or two of snow, maybe an inch or a little bit more than an inch up on the benches in the Pocatello area, but that's kind of pushing it. Just depends on how that snow progresses and how quickly it progresses with the Arctic front later on this afternoon and this evening. And you'll notice those really strong winds developing out of the north, still out of the northwest over the Magic Valley, Treasure Valley this evening. Elsewhere, starting to become more northerly, and many areas seeing gusts 30 to 40, 45 miles an hour. And up along the divide, that's where we're going to see the strongest winds. That's going to have some, even with the snow ending, some pretty good blowing and snow potential anywhere along this corridor, but especially up towards the divide with some of those gusts near 60 miles per hour. Like we said, the snow will be quickly winding down. The bulk of it will be in the highest elevation south of the Snake Plain through the evening hours. For today, temperatures, it's going to seem probably a lot colder than this, and even during the daytime hours, highs in the 20s across the region, low 30s, and maybe some mid-30s once you get back towards Glenn's Ferry and Mountain Home. And this is where we start to run into the issue with wind chills tomorrow morning and those gusty winds. Many areas setting about 5 above to about 10 below zero for lows in the morning. The colder spots in the central mountains around 10 to 20 below zero. Mid-teens for the Magic Valley into the Treasure Valley. Those areas will see those wind chill values in the single digits from around 0 to 10. The rest of us will be running 0 to 20 or colder, especially across portions of the Snake Plain up into the eastern highlands. Some of the colder pockets up in the central mountains will see wind chills colder than minus 30, also down into the southeast highlands as well. That's for tomorrow morning with the wind. Winds will continue to die down during the day tomorrow, but it will still feel very chilly even in the afternoon hours. Most of us in the teens and 20s, but the warmer temperatures remain at or above freezing basically once you get down towards Minidoka, Burley, into the rest of the Magic Valley and Treasure Valley for tomorrow afternoon. Thursday morning, the winds are there, but they're generally running at best maybe 10 to 15, including gusts, but otherwise they're a lot lower than we'll be seeing today and into tomorrow morning. Temperatures running in many areas are right around 5 to 15 below zero, maybe some pockets of around 20 below zero. That's the air temperature across the Arco Desert down around the Bear Lake area as well, over into the Teton Valley and the eastern highlands. Those areas will see wind chills around 15 to 25 below and across those colder spots, and that includes some of the colder pockets in the central mountains elsewhere. Wind chills will be running anywhere from around 10 above to about 10 below zero for Thursday morning. Highs on Thursday, just warming up a couple of degrees, especially where we can keep the inversion going. And Thursday with high pressure moving overhead, it will only be in the teens in the afternoon. Otherwise, mid-20s to mid-30s for afternoon highs. And for Friday morning, we're creeping up the temperatures. Winds not as much. They may be a little bit similar to Thursday morning, but you'll notice not many areas seeing wind chills below minus 20. So generally running about 0 to minus 20 across the region. And overnight lows running in the 0 to 10 below zero across the Snake Plain. The rest of us in the single digits below zero. To 10 below, and like we said, in some spots, but you get over into the Treasure and Magic Valley once again, we're talking for mid-teens for lows Friday morning. Highs in the afternoon creeping up another 2 to 5 degrees across the board, and this trend continues into Saturday. Many of us will be outside of especially where we can get away from any inversion type conditions lingering. It is going to be well above freezing for Saturday afternoon across the area. So once again, today we've got snow, we've got a lot of wind, blowing and drifting conditions. We recommend highly check the road conditions if you're heading out later on this morning, especially for the morning drive. After this afternoon, we've got a pretty strong cold front coming through. Dangerous wind chill conditions tomorrow morning, still with some low wind chills and below zero air temperatures all the way through Friday, even into Saturday morning. The next chance of precipitation, that doesn't get here until later in the weekend. So everyone have a great day, and please be safe out there with these conditions, everyone.